Hi, this is Chris. For those of you who just tried to view in on the live link that we scheduled, even with third-party software attached, apparently we still haven't quite figured out our technology. But thanks for tuning in today to our second edition of Live at Lunch with the WCA. We are going to be doing that every Monday and Wednesday at noon with different members of our staff tuning in to share some of the work that they're doing, some of what they're doing while they're at home, introducing who they are a little bit, and just sharing some conversation and insight. So tune in. Today is a special edition, a kind of a Friday update, and we'll be doing that occasionally and often, and taking some comments. I see Becca joined. I know that there were 4 or 5 folks who had tuned in before, so I hope that we get you back, and sorry about that technical issue. We will get it figured out, so stick with us. My name is Chris. I am the communications manager for the Women's and Children's Alliance. I am, as many people are, working from home right now, so I relocated from my office, which is also known as my kitchen counter, and decided to venture into the break room, which is also known as the living room here. And there's better lighting also. And sit and share with you today a little bit about what is happening, a little bit of an update with the WCA. Hey, Becca. And share with you some of the things we're doing. We've had to kind of reconfigure, as many people are doing right now, some of the things we're working on. I have the privilege of overseeing and working with the outreach and communications and prevention team at the WCA. So with the April 1st came the beginning of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And typically this time of year we would be really deep into planning for lots of outreach events and some pretty cool fundraising events in partnership with members of our community. And obviously we aren't able to do that right now. So we're also getting really creative about how we're going to engage with the community, and things like Facebook Live, which is something I've been thinking about for a while, Instagram, YouTube. And so it's allowing us that opportunity to really think about how can we talk to people, how can we engage, how can we have some conversations about the things we're doing, why it's important, prevention work, outreach, who we can reach out to, how, where we can put our shoe cards when we're able, things like that. So I invite you all to think about those things, send us some emails if you have ideas, and if you hear us reaching out to you. Hey, Olivia. Hey, Tracy. Nice to see you. Sorry about the little snafu. Apparently third-party software isn't even quite the answer. Thanks for joining on Friday, and a little bit of a Friday update. So we're talking about Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We're talking about Denim Day. We're talking about the WCA. I had my 7-year anniversary with the Women's and Children's Alliance. Hey, Emily. Nice to see you. So I had my 7-year anniversary with the WCA while we're during the stay-home order, which has been nice. I got a really cool email from our HR generalist with a nice little flickering candle. Hey, Becca. And just really realized that, it's been my privilege to be with the organization as it's transitioned, and as we've watched even the topics of domestic abuse and sexual assault really kind of evolve into something that people they're more willing to let us in the door and talk to them about. But, the WCA is a service provider. We are here. Our doors are open, and that's something that's very significant, a message we are working really diligently around the clock right now to make sure people are aware. We have seen great support from community leaders, from media partners who are helping us get that message out. And we are still working on our end with our outreach team and our prevention team to try and figure out what we can do right now to keep, moving forward with that prevention work, that deep dive, and looking at some of those issues about how we can change our culture, change our community for those so that they may not need our services in the future. With our outreach team, letting people know really what is domestic abuse? What does it look like? What are the definitions? Where can people go to get help? So that work is still ongoing. We are just figuring out how to do it in a little bit of a different way, which, sometimes silver linings can come out of that. And we're seeing some really great energy and great minds. But the really big thing right now is that we know that domestic abuse rates rise after things like natural disasters and global pandemics, although I've never been a part of one in my life, but right in the middle of one right now. And if you, hi Claudia, so thanks for joining, yay. If you read anything, I know there's lots of horrible news, and a lot of people are practicing some good self-care and not reading the news and not staying on their social media all the time, which I fully support. But you will see some pretty significant news stories come out from our friends and our fellow country members all over the world. Australia, France, England, they're reporting pretty dramatic increases in domestic violence. And this is because the stay-at-home order, which is meant to help protect us and help flatten that curve, which I fully support. I've left the house other than to get the mail twice this week, to get some milk and get some ice cream, some pretty big staples. The ice cream, I mean. We are doing our part to flatten the curve. I miss seeing my kids. I miss seeing my grandson. I miss going to the gym. I'm going a little stir crazy, but it's really important. And so we're doing our part, but I don't live with that worry or that concern or that walking on eggshells or that feeling like I'm in a pressure cooker, because I'm not in an unhealthy relationship. Yes, ice cream is crucial. Absolutely agree. And I had to go get some. I'm fortunate. I am very, very fortunate, but I know there are so many people in our community who are not lucky and who live in that situation, and now being home with either an abuser, either a husband, wife, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe it's an elderly family member who's living in a home with a caregiver. Those are intimate partner relationships. And we know that those rates of domestic violence can increase when they're at home and isolated from, they're cut off from support networks, they're cut off from friends and family, they're cut off from coworkers. Perhaps a job situation has changed and they are cut off from their financial resources. Financial abuse comes into play. So not only are people having the stress of this pandemic and health and changing of the world, you have this added stress of, are they safe? What's going on in the next room? What's going to happen when they get up in the morning? Are their kids okay? And we just really need to get the word out and let people know that they are not alone. Oh, thanks, honey. My husband gives me a thumbs up. He's in the other room. He's a great supporter. And to let people know that we are here, that we are providing services still. Our crisis center is open. Our hotlines are available 24/7 with highly trained client advocates. Here's the numbers, and I'll keep talking. Can you see those? 24-hour domestic violence hotline, 24-hour sexual assault hotline, available for anybody to call from anywhere, anytime. And one thing for that is, you don't have to be 18 years or older. If you're a teenager, they're not going to ask how old you are. So we know right now a lot of teenagers are home. They're home, being homeschooled as well. And so that can really increase situations where there might be unhealthy patterns coming, and parents might be seeing that. So you can also call and say, hey, this is going on and I'm not sure what to do, or I'm not sure if that's an issue. Oh, it's backwards. Well, thanks, honey. I'm doing my best. I guess it's showing up backwards. Okay, we'll deal with that. So we had to start a new live video. So if anybody's trying to go to the scheduled one, we're just going straight live from the WCA's website or Facebook page. So we just started live straight. So we will figure out the technical issues, I promise. And then this will be as a replay link. So for anybody who's having issues, I do apologize. We're doing the best we can to kind of figure this out on the fly. So with that, and I'll figure out my science, and my husband's now walking by trying not to laugh at me. But, you have to have humor right now. But as I was saying, if you've got, for the people who have teens and kids at home too, this can be a time where some of those situations might arise, where there's, texting and some of those overly texting and wanting to, control through social media and some of that digital abuse, and trying to keep, teenagers from seeing their significant others might be a challenge in and of itself right now. But if you see some of those concerning behaviors start to come forward, call our hotline. If you're in a situation where it's actually not safe to make a phone call, that's where this really may come into play. You're at home with your partner. The National Domestic Violence Hotline actually has a chat option, and I won't pull up the sign since it'll be backwards anyway. But you can go to any browser where you have Wi-Fi from your phone. You can maybe go to a friend's house or a library. Normally, not during the stay-home order, but normally places like that. And you go to thehotline.org. And it's just those two words put together, thehotline.org. And they have a chat function, and you can chat online with them. Now, loveisrespect.org is an organization. They're actually run by the same people, funded by the same people, and they have an online chat function too. They're really aimed at helping teenagers and young adults. They have an online chat function, and they also have a text function. So you can text the word all together, love is, to the number 22522, and you can text support. Now, at this time, the way they're advertising is, I think anybody who might want to ask and get some help can use that text function as well, because again, the hotline, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and Love is Respect have the same trained advocates answering their inquiries. So, and they have a hotline number there on their website available too. So you can call, you can chat, you can text. The WCA hotlines are here 24/7 available, with people answering. Our crisis center is open. Our program staff, we've changed the way we're doing some things just a little bit to minimize face-to-face contact, but our counselors are still dealing with clients. Our case managers are still dealing with clients. We're doing the best we can to help maintain that level and help new people who are calling us. We are starting to see an increase in calls for help and services. We're anticipating a greater increase, as are some of our partners. We're keeping in touch with other nonprofit partners and other law enforcement partners. And, it almost feels like it's a little bit of the calm before the storm, perhaps. And we just know a lot of our friends and neighbors, our sisters, our brothers are probably in a situation where there's a lot of stress in the home. It's a little bit of a pressure cooker situation. So it's really important to us that we get the word out, that our hotline's there, our crisis center is open. And with the closure of the Ada County Courthouse just at the beginning of this week to the public, our court advocate staff is actually on site at the crisis center 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. to assist anyone who might be needing to file a civil protection order. That's for stalking or domestic violence. So people can come in, they'll help them fill out the paperwork online. They'll help them with, filing for emergency hearings, going through that. They'll help them with their 2-week hearings. They will help them do safety planning. People can call our main line through 208-343-3688, extension 200, to get to our court advocate team. Again, that's 208-343-3688, extension 200, to get to our court advocate team. And you can leave a message, you can leave an email. If it's outside of those crisis center hours, go ahead and leave a message. They can try to work with you to also set up an appointment to do some safety planning. For any of you who've never heard of safety planning, it is basically setting up a personal safety planning. Just in a nutshell, involves looking at your routine, where you're at, what you're going to be doing, and trying to talk through and work out the best way to keep yourself safe. So what rooms you're going to be going into. Maybe don't go into the bathroom because you can't get out. Don't go into the kitchen because that's where the most sharp items are kept. But, where are you parking? Where are you leaving from? And do you have extra things to help keep you safe? That kind of thing. So, and each situation is completely different. And we have folks who are highly, highly trained and talking through that with individuals and working out a plan to really try to help keep them safe, and they can talk with friends and family too. So, and then if situation changes, you call back and you adjust that safety plan. So, our client advocates and our crisis case manager can also do some safety planning from the hotline if something is happening or something immediate is going on and you need that assistance. So, please know if you need immediate help, just call that hotline. 208-343-7025 is our 24-hour domestic abuse hotline. If you are worried about somebody else, perhaps in a different state, I've gotten that question actually a couple times I'm going to address a couple questions that have come in through our Facebook and our info email, which please, I monitor those things. So please go ahead and send us questions. And if you get them, that's info@wcaboise.org. If you're worried about somebody else in another state, you can call that National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can go ahead and call our hotline and explain what's going on, ask if there's anything you can do, ask for resources, because our client advocates and our crisis case manager have a lot of resources at their fingertips, and they can help put you in the right direction. There's also a website called domesticshelters.org. That's domesticshelters.org. You can go online and you can type in like the nearest city and town from there, and that might help you find local resources. And by and large, most of them also do have a hotline. So if you wanted to try and call somewhere local, but you know what? I always tell people, just call our hotline because they have so many resources and they're so knowledgeable. And you can say, this is going on. It just doesn't seem right to me. Should I be worried? What can I do? And then I wanted to address, and again, I'm not a client advocate, so I always either tell people to call the hotline or forward on to the folks who are highly trained to help folks. But again, these are just some of the inquiries we've gotten. If people are experiencing situations that don't feel right, again, they feel like perhaps they're walking on eggshells, they're in a pressure cooker situation, it just doesn't feel right, they're waiting for the next thing to happen or waiting for something to happen, and they may feel trapped right now. They can't leave. They've got kids to think about. Maybe they've lost a job or they're homeschooling kids now. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot adding stress to the situation. So this is just the perfect recipe for something to either get worse physically or emotionally, or for something that's already bad to get potentially very dangerous, or even for the ultimate to happen, and for people to for a domestic violence homicide to happen. So right now we just I think honestly we think we're kind of in a holding pattern waiting, but unfortunately that means that there's a lot of people under a lot of stress with this added on. But if you call our hotline, if you're in a situation, that doesn't mean you have to leave right then. It doesn't mean anybody's going to encourage you to leave. It doesn't mean anybody's going to encourage you to press charges. Our hotline is there for you to have support, to have someone to talk to. Nobody's going to ask you to do anything you're not comfortable with unless a child is being injured and we're mandatory reporters. We want people to know that hotline is there. Our crisis center is there. There's people there for you to talk to. If you are just, not even questioning, am I making things up? Am I, I've seen and heard that, like, I think I might be going crazy. Is this bad? And I usually direct them to call the hotline at that point. But, if you will say, you probably just need to trust your gut, because if it doesn't feel right and you have to question and you wonder, am I crazy? Is this really that bad? Does it feel that bad? Then you probably, it probably is, but that's not my place to judge. It's none of our places to judge. And that's the last thing we ever do with the WCA. So, they're not going to tell you again, you need to leave, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's all about providing people with the resources and the information and empowering them to make decisions. So nobody's going to tell you have to leave right now. So it's a resource on the other end for somebody to talk to and to give tools and information for whenever somebody's ready to make a decision. I'm looking down here at an email, B. Black, our executive director, who's been really great about reaching out and sending out information to our community supporters. We have an email list that people have opted into. We send out a monthly newsletter, but she's been sending out updates weekly. So if you're not on that list and you'd like to be, send us an email at info.wcaboise.org. That's info@wcaboise.org, and we can get you added to our email list, and we can send you our monthly newsletter, which usually has maybe a survivor story, a staff spotlight, upcoming events when we get to have them again, which will be great. And then that usually does have a video update from our executive director and some other great information. But she's been sending out a weekly update that is an update about services, an update on the state of the WCA, and some other great information. So her email that went out this Wednesday was talking about the fact that it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And it, even while we have everything else going on and lots of other things on our mind, it's important that we come together and try to raise awareness and change the culture, because there are still many people who don't come forward or suffer needlessly because they are the victim of sexual assault. And the latest statistic from the organization RAINN is that every 73 seconds in America, an adult will be sexually assaulted. Every 73 seconds. So how long have I been talking to you? Think about that. Like, look on your computer. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of sexual assaults in our country. That's a lot. And I believe it's every 6 minutes. It's every 6 minutes or 9 minutes. This was a new statistic, so I wanted to look. 6 minutes or every 9 minutes. That one is a child. Yeah, I lost the impact of that stat, didn't I? Anyway, every 6 minutes we'll go that it's a child. So if you think about that 73 seconds to 6 minutes, it's very small. I need my glasses. That's how important. So we can all do something to help and, support people who have been impacted by sexual assault or domestic violence. And, the first thing you say is start by believing. And even if it's the unbelievable, it's very difficult for many people to say, oh, this is my friend XYZ or my brother or my sister. They would never do that. Well, I can tell you by and large, and there's different stats, but, 70 to 80 to, it's every 9 minutes to a child. Thank you. I can't read my own, so every 73 seconds in the U.S., somebody is sexually assaulted, every adult, and every 9 minutes it's a child. Thanks, Loopy. I can't read my own typing, and I type that. It's really hard to believe that it happens, especially when the perpetrator is supposedly someone you know. So we may be dealing with that right now, and you may be worried about somebody, but it's hard when the abuser or the perpetrator is someone you know. So if you find out something's going on or somebody confides in you, that is the first and the most important thing, is to start by believing and offer resources. How can I help you? That's really challenging right now because, let's go get a coffee, let's go for a walk. Those things are really a little bit difficult to do right now. But again, the WCA is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4. Do they need a ride? Okay, can you sit 6 feet apart? But let them know the WCA is there. Pass along the phone number. Make a phone call. If it's not safe, get online to do that chat. Call the WCA and talk to a client advocate and say, what can I do? I'm worried about my friend. They confided in me. That type of thing. So there are still some things you can do, but start by believing. I've also heard things about, well, so-and-so made it up and they just want attention. You know what? The statistics of that actually happen are so minuscule that it's not even worth talking about. Because why in the world do people really make up those stories? It's so minuscule. And when people come forward and actually confide in you and share those details, it's humiliating, and they've been degraded, as a person. And so for people that they care about to not believe them, that does more damage sometimes than even the abuse or the assault. So it's really important to start by believing, to offer resources, to circle back and let them know that you care about them, you believe them, what can you do? And right now you get really creative with that about, I care about you, sending texts, the FaceTime, good old-fashioned letter in the mail might not be a bad thing until we're through this time. But if you know somebody who's dealing with something, and they may be having a more of a difficult time right now, dealing with something that's happened in the past because of the current stress, we are seeing that too. So if you know somebody that has dealt with this in the past, reach out to them, see how they're doing, because that's how we can support too. But it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We know that there's probably going to be a lot of people in our community who are going to be impacted by domestic abuse during this time. So please let people know that the WCA is here. Our doors are open. Our outreach communications, philanthropy, prevention team, we are doing everything we can to get creative, to let people know, to educate, to engage. So we'd love to hear from you. info@wcaboise.org. We are all checking our voicemails. So if you want to call 208-343-3688, there are people in the office. You can leave a message and be directed to us. We would love to connect to any of you. And we really appreciate all of the supporters in our community. financially, volunteers, and just the people who log in on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and share information and read the stories and engage that way, because that's huge. And we know that that's a way that we, again, can all help change our community, is by educating ourselves and starting conversations and, combating myths and stereotypes and things, especially now in this day and age. We are existing in a very different time. This new normal for us is a challenge each day, and it feels very interesting. I actually got dressed today. I put on makeup, I think, for the first time in 2 weeks. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for allowing me that opportunity for a little bit of normalcy today. I think we're getting close on our time. So, Paloma, thank you. Hello, and Teresa. My Aunt Lynn is on. Thank you. Oh, and Haley, my stepdaughter, is on. Thank you for joining today. Again, we're going to have lunch live at lunch with the WCA every Monday and Wednesday, and we'll be doing some updates on Friday. The WCA is open. Our 24-hour hotlines are available. Our shelters are open and being managed by, can I just tell you, our program staff is amazing. They are brave and ready, and they've stepped up like nothing. And they're ready to take care of our current residential clients and those that we know who are going to need our services. So they are there. The rest of us are non-essential kind of people in terms of the programs. We're all working from home and keeping our, Larry Jr., my cousin Robbie. But they are all there. They are taking care of clients. They are ready. We've taken as much precautions as we can, and we're constantly monitoring the situation to make sure that we are providing for the health of our staff and our clients, but ultimately so that we can be there to provide safety to those that are going to need us, those that are continuing to need us, and those that will perhaps need us more in the coming future than they have than any time I've known. And that's what we anticipate. So please share our hotline. Please check on folks if you're worried about them, and take care of each other, take care of your neighbors. Don't hoard toilet paper. I think there'll be enough. Get a hold of me. I monitor the info email box. So again, info@wcaboise.org. Tune in. We're going to have some fun, healthy relationships collage, and we're going to have a little reading hour in our JVs. Becca and Olivia are going to be back on, and we have some really fantastic interns from Boise State who are going to be on, so we'll get the schedule posted. So if you have questions, send them my way. We are not, really quickly, let me say, we are not taking any donations right now. I just got that. Because of mitigating the risk of any kind of germs at all being exposed, and to protect the health of everyone, we are not accepting any physical donations right now for the short term. We have closed our thrift shop, and we're not accepting any physical donations for the shelter, for admin location. If someone does want to support us, we really would love to have online gift cards purchased from any major retailer or even local businesses. We love local businesses. And those can be sent to the attention of our volunteer coordinator, volunteer and special events coordinator you can actually just reach out to me if you want that information, so I'm not broadcasting everybody's information everywhere, and we are out of time. So those gift cards, though, for gas and for groceries, that we can help our clients out as they, too, are being impacted by this crazy time. So we appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I will really try to get our technical issues worked out so that we don't have a delay next time, but shoot me any questions if you would like us to address them on our next update session. And thank you very much. Bye, Marco. Bye, Robbie. Bye, Becca, Paloma, Teresa, the Outreach Communications team. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great Friday.